I thought my wife was working late. The security cameras told me the truth. I found out my wife was cheating on a Tuesday, which feels unfair, honestly. Tuesdays are already hanging on by a thread. At least with a Friday betrayal, you can drink in the dark with some cinematic flair. But no, mine showed up at 2:37 p.m. on a random beige Tuesday, sandwiched between a budget meeting and my dentist reminding me about flossing. My name is Daniel. I'm 36, boring on paper, and until recently, comfortably married. My wife's name is Hannah. We'd been together 9 years, married for 6. The kind of couple that has a synchronized coffee routine and a shared calendar app. The kind of couple people look at and say, "You guys seem solid." We did seem solid. Turns out, so did the Titanic from the outside. It started small. It always does. Hannah got a promotion at her marketing firm about a year ago. New title, new team, new boss. His name was Evan. Mid-40s, charming in that expensive watch and casual confidence way. The first time I met him was at a company party. "Daniel, right?" he said, shaking my hand like he was testing my grip. "Hannah's told me all about you." I remember thinking, good handshake, a little too much cologne. Probably says, let's circle back in emails. He had that easy laugh, the kind you only get if life has mostly said yes to you. On the car ride home, I joked, "Your boss is one of those guys who's never had split checks in his life." Hannah laughed. "Yeah, he's intense, but he gets results." I didn't know then that I would spend a lot of nights later, lying awake, replaying that stupid car ride and wondering if something started before I even knew there was anything to notice. It was gradual. First, late nights at the office. "We're launching a new campaign," she said. Huge opportunity for me. I might be home late all week. Then, work trips. She used to travel once every few months. Suddenly, she had 2 trips in a single month. "It's Evan," she said, rolling her eyes. "Everything has to be face-to-face with him. He doesn't trust Zoom." And I believed her because why wouldn't I? We were fine. We were us. I noticed little things, of course. She started taking her phone into the bathroom, face down. New lingerie she didn't wear around me, which you'd think would be a massive red flag. But my brain very kindly filed that, under fun future surprise. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and found her sitting on the couch in the dark, light from her phone lighting up her face. When she noticed me, she jumped like she'd seen a ghost. "You okay?" I asked. "Couldn't sleep," she said, locking her screen so fast it was reflex. "Go back to bed, babe. I'll be there in a minute." I told myself I was being paranoid. Men do that, talk ourselves out of our own instincts. We're taught not to be jealous or insecure, so we gaslight ourselves instead. Then came the conference. 3 days in Chicago, she said, trying to sound casual. "Evan wants me to co-present. This is big, Dan." "Of course," I said. "That's great. I'm proud of you." I meant it. I really was proud. Somewhere in there, I was still the guy who loved seeing her win. On the second night of that trip, my friend Sam sent me a text. "You still okay with Hannah working late? Wah, that boss of hers?" I frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" A minute later, he replied with a photo. Grainy, zoomed in, clearly taken with a shaky hand from across a hotel lobby. But I knew that dress. I knew my wife's hair, the way she tilted her head when she laughed. In the picture, Hannah was at the hotel bar. So was Evan. They were sitting too close. Not boss and employee after a long day close. Not we stumbled into the only free seats close. Their shoulders touched. His hand was on the back of her chair. Her face was turned toward him, eyes soft. Mouth open in a smile I hadn't seen directed at me in a while. My stomach dropped, but my brain went to work. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's the angle. Maybe he just leaned in for a second. Maybe Sam's being dramatic. Men are impressive. We can build whole skyscrapers of denial in under 5 seconds. I typed, "They're probably talking about work. Don't be weird." Sam didn't answer for a while. When he did, it was just, "Okay, just thought you'd want to see." I didn't sleep that night, or the next one, but when she came home smiling tired, dropping her suitcase in the hallway, I still kissed her and asked how the trip was. "Exhausting," she said. "If I hear the word synergy one more time, I might start a fire." She made jokes. We ordered takeout. We watched a show. It was normal, comforting. Almost enough to believe. Almost. The thing about doubt is, once it's in, it doesn't leave. It just finds new places to live. A couple of weeks later, I got the answer I'd been building defenses against. I work in IT at a different company, and one of our clients happens to be the building where Hannah's firm leases their office. Once every quarter, I go on site to check their servers and do the whole turn it off and on again, but with a badge routine. That Tuesday, I was there resetting a firewall password when the building's security director, Carl, came in. Carl's one of those guys who lives for procedures and security footage. "You wouldn't believe what people do when they think no one's watching," he loves to say. I didn't ask to see anything. I didn't even want to. But while we were waiting for a backup to finish, he pulled up the live camera feeds just to show off his new software. "There's your wife's floor," he said, clicking a camera angle. "You said she works at Brightline Marketing, right?" I looked up, expecting to see a bunch of people hunched over computers. Instead, I saw my wife outside a conference room, alone, leaning against the wall. And then Evan walked into frame. He stepped up to her, too close. She smiled, the same soft smile from the hotel photo. He brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, slowly, the way you do when you have the right to touch someone. She didn't pull away. In fact, she tilted her face up. He kissed her. She kissed him back. The world didn't end. The servers didn't explode. My heart kept beating, stupidly, like it hadn't just been used as a crash test dummy. I don't think I made any sound, but Carl glanced at me and immediately minimized the screen. "Sorry," he said, flushing. "I didn't realize. I wasn't trying to." "It's fine," I heard myself say from about 3 miles outside my body. "Just finish the backup." I don't remember the rest of that visit. I know I drove home. I know I stopped at 2 red lights and probably ran one. I know my hands were shaking so hard at one point I had to pull over. People talk about anger, rage, fury. I didn't feel that, at least not at first. What I felt was hollowed out. Like someone had quietly removed all the furniture from inside me and left the lights on. Hannah was already home when I walked in, wearing the old college t-shirt she knows I like on her. She was cooking pasta. The domestic normalcy of it made me a little dizzy. "Hey, you're back early," she said. "You okay? You look pale." "I saw you," I said. The words came out flat. No build-up. No clever dramatic confrontation like in movies. Just, "I saw you," she frowned. "Saw me where?" "At work, on the security cameras with Evan." Silence. She didn't gasp. She didn't collapse into guilt. She just went very, very still. Then she turned off the stove. From outside, it probably looked like a normal conversation. 2 adults in a quiet kitchen. But something old and soft between us was dying in real time. "How long?" I asked. She sat down at the table, didn't look at me. "About 8 months," she said. 8 months. I did that thing men do when pain hits. Laughed a little, but it came out wrong. "Wow, that's practically a relationship anniversary." "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said. I almost admired the cliché. "No one ever does." She finally looked at me. Her eyes were wet, but she wasn't crying. Not really. Dan, I was lonely. You were working late all the time. We weren't us. He listened. He appreciated me. He made me feel. Spare me the Yelp review, I snapped. And there it was, the first real spark of anger. She flinched. You asked. No, I said, quieter now. I asked how long my wife has been sharing herself with another man while kissing me goodnight. I didn't ask for excuses. And here's the thing that punched me in the throat. She looked ashamed, but not enough to lie. It started with texts, she said, then drinks, then a hotel on a trip. I kept telling myself I'd stop, that it was just temporary, a phase. It sounds pathetic, but I thought I could keep my marriage and this thing separate. You thought you could cheat on me and still be a good wife, I said. She winced like I'd slapped her. I don't know what I thought. I just didn't want to lose anything. That was the moment something in me snapped back into place. Not the old trust, but a new, cold clarity. I nodded. Okay, well, you're going to lose something. Revenge has a bad reputation, and maybe it deserves it. But what I felt wasn't a desire to hurt her physically. It was a bone-deep need to drag everything out into the light, to strip away the safety net she'd built for herself out of my ignorance. If she wanted to live in two worlds, I was going to collapse them into one. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I went to our bedroom, opened the drawer where we kept important documents, and quietly pulled out the folder with our financials, our lease, our insurance. I put it on the table. What are you doing? She asked, voice small. Step 1, I said. I'm not protecting your secret anymore. I'm in IT. I understand systems, patterns, evidence. People lie. Data doesn't. Over the next week, I did what I do best, research. I pulled our phone records and saw the numbers I didn't recognize. Dozens of calls. Hundreds of texts at hours when I thought she was asleep next to me. I found old trip confirmations with conference in the subject line and matching charges for twin rooms that had been mysteriously changed to a single king at check-in. I dug a little deeper into Evan's life. Public social media, LinkedIn, where he bragged about leading with integrity, which is apparently code for I sleep with my direct reports. I could have confronted him, shown up at his office, thrown a punch maybe. But that would have just turned me into the cliché. Angry husband, unhinged, easily dismissed. Men like him count on that, so instead I became methodical. I compiled everything into a neat little digital folder. Screenshots, photos, timelines. I added my own notes, just like I would for a bug report at work. Then I asked Hannah one more time if she wanted to come clean on her own. You can tell him it's over, I said. You can tell HR you've been involved with your boss. You can tell your parents, your friends, or I can. She stared at me like I'd started speaking fluent Martian. You'd ruin my career? I'm not ruining anything, I said. I'm just refusing to help you lie to everyone. I'm done being the idiot in the background of your story. Tears finally came then. Messy, snotty, real. Dan, please, I made a mistake. Don't destroy my life. A mistake. 8 months, multiple trips. That wasn't a typo. That was a second draft. You destroyed the life I thought I had, I said. This is just quality assurance. In the end, I didn't have to blow up her job as much as I thought. I sent one anonymous email. It went to the company's HR director and their head of compliance. I wrote, in very neutral language, that a senior manager, Evan, was engaged in an ongoing romantic relationship with a direct report, Hannah, which might represent a violation of company policy. I attached a few tasteful screenshots, nothing explicit, just enough to prove it wasn't a rumor. Within a week, Evan was taking a leave of absence to focus on personal matters. Within a month, he was gone. Official line. Mutual parting of ways. Unofficial line. The board didn't like the optics of a harassment lawsuit waiting to happen. Hannah kept her job, technically, but she was quietly moved off leadership track. No more glamorous conferences, no more one-on-one trips with the boss. She was just another employee with a tainted reputation, people whispered about in the break room. That was my revenge on him. I took away the power he used to seduce her. For once, a man like that faced consequences that weren't just a guilty conscience and a slightly awkward holiday party. My revenge on her was simpler and somehow crueler. I left, not dramatically. Not with a slammed door and a suitcase in the rain. I found a small apartment 2 neighborhoods over. I moved out over a weekend while she stayed with her sister to give us space. I packed my things, left my keys on the kitchen table, and sent her an email. Not because I was afraid to face her, but because I wanted a record she couldn't rewrite later. I wrote, "I loved you. I really did. But I can't live in a version of our marriage where lying is normal, and I have to earn the bare minimum of respect. I'm not staying, so you can slowly downgrade me from husband to roommate to convenient backup plan. You made your choice. This is mine. We're not divorced yet, but the papers are in motion." People ask me if I miss her. I do. I miss the version of her that never existed the way I thought she did. Sometimes, late at night in my new, too quiet apartment, I scroll through photos of us, smiling at beaches, weddings, cracked restaurant tables. I try to figure out when exactly I became the extra in my own marriage. Here's the part that surprised me, though. I feel a little sorry for Evan, too. He's a grown man who should have known better, sure. But I looked him up a few weeks ago. His LinkedIn says he's between opportunities. His glossy posts about leadership dried up. No triumphant airport selfies. No humble brag about keynote speeches. Just silence. He lost his job, his status, probably his own family if he had one. All for what? A year of stolen hotel rooms and secret texts with someone else's wife. We're 3 men, in a sense. Me, Evan, and whatever future guy tries to build something with Hannah after this. Different roles, same fragile ego under the hood. We learn early to man up. Take it on the chin. Don't make a scene, but nobody tells you what to do when the person you trusted most quietly rewrites the script without you. Maybe my revenge wasn't fireworks and broken dishes. Maybe it won't make a great action movie. But it did one thing that matters to me. It put the truth on record. It took me out of the role of the unsuspecting husband, and it forced them both to live in the mess they made without my silence cushioning it. Sometimes when people hear the story, they say, "You were too harsh. You could have forgiven her." Maybe they're right. Maybe I am harsh. Maybe I should have fought harder for the marriage. Then I remember that video feed in Carl's office. That kiss, practiced and easy, in a hallway where she was supposed to be working. I remember 8 months of lies, built on the assumption that I would never look too closely. No one ever pities the guy in that chair watching the footage, pressing his fingers so hard into the edge of the desk his nails leave marks. But I do, because that guy was me. And if any man ever asks whether he's crazy for feeling something is wrong, I'll tell him what I wish someone had told me earlier: you're not crazy. You just finally stopped looking away.